Welcome to another episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. I am your host and founder of Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your love and support on this episode and all the previous episodes. Over 215 at this point. We'll be hitting at least 300 total episodes by the end of 2025. And we just want to thank our viewers and listeners uh, for sticking with us. Whether this is your first episode you're just hearing about, or if you've been with us since the beginning. So we are going to dive into part two of our conversation with author Sandy Solis. And for those who haven't tuned in to part one, we're going to review some of her bio information so that if you didn't tune into part one, you're going to get the same uh, information, same bio info that you got in part one. Uh, so Sandy Scholas is joining us on this episode. Uh, she you can find actually we didn't touch on this in the first show. The general link to all your websites and offers can be found on linkedin.com/NIN/Sandy SANDY dash Solis SOLIS dash 5B1B3370 so I want to make sure we covered that. And her main website is www.spirit, SPIRIT, wings, WINGS, online, ONLINE.com. So www.spiritwingsonline.com. Sandy is a native of Colorado, now living in the green country of Oklahoma. She is by trade a 3D computer artist and lives on the family ranch. She is married with one daughter, and she's a longtime student of the Bible and eschatology. Sandy has vlogs and animation videos, and you can subscribe and keep up to date with everything that has gone on and will be going on with Sandy's work, and that is at Bible Rock. So that's BIBLEROCK. That'll take you to her YouTube channel. She's learned that there's many types and shadows in her books. For example, one of her characters, Jesse, uh, not wearing a coat, symbolizes no prayer covering. It is Sandy's vision to give an option to Harry Potter books and the like with quality Christian content. She also desires to make each book in the Spirit Wing series into full length motion pictures, video games, and other supporting products. A theme park, and I love this, a theme park is also on her list of to dos. Companion anime color books are also out for each book in the series. And she really feels that she is called to promote the kingdom of God with all her resources. Uh, Again, her website for the book series is spiritwingsonline.com. Her books are on amazon.com, and you can find those as paperbacks, hardbacks, and Kindle editions electronically. And she has one book on Audible for the listening audience that's out there, and the rest are forthcoming. And as someone who is I've written two, I call them pamphlets because they're pretty short. One on my mental health story, and one on some workforce preparation tips as individuals are entering the workforce, internships, and having recorded those to have those on Audible, it's quite the task to do. Uh, so that's again, in this the short amount of time we have really on Earth and during our days, we really have to take a block of time aside to do that recording. Uh, so joining us again, part two is Sandy Solis. She's a prophetic novelist. And again, you can find everything about her at spiritwingsonline.com. Sandy, thanks for joining us, not only for the first episode, but for part two here.
So much, Justin. My pleasure. And thank you so much for letting me come on. And it's been a real blast to talk to you. And I hope people can to relate and maybe find something that they would like to have.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, this is just incredible. And we started to transition at the end of the first part of our conversation into those dreams and ideas that uh, you want to transform the work that you do outside of just a book that you want want to look at video games, films, a theme park, uh, and just to even have those thoughts and dreams. How how can an individual, whether their dreams are similar to yours or different, how can an individual just really tap into that and into their own self of, you know what, if I'll say get out of today, you know, what can I do tomorrow? And then maybe in a year or potentially 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about that from your perspective?
Yeah. Finding your identity and why you were put on the earth. Ask yourself questions like, if money wasn't an issue, if I had no restrictions, what would I want to do? And let your mind go there, because at a certain point life beats us up and we drop our dreams, or we put them aside. And so, yeah, it's that inner reflection and partnering with God. um, is good. He made us, he knows what we're perfect at and what has the most satisfaction. And what would really be the biggest blast for us when we find out what he says we are. uh, that's can be life changing. And that identity and that purpose, it really brought me through my teenage years. I'm called, I've got a purpose, so I didn't wander around aimlessly and maybe dabble in things I shouldn't, because I had that focus, that sense of identity, that sense of calling. And so for young adults, and those in their formative years, it's really good to look inside. Why am I here? And what should I be doing? And I've always had that sense. I don't want to have regret at the end of in my life. Sitting there in the rocking chair, on the back porch, thinking, I wish I had tried that. I wish I would have gone for it. I wish risk and reward. I want everyone to lay hold of that, the best, and not just drag through. This is it. We don't get a rerun. We don't get to try again. Life two, go. No, this is it. So we got to go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and when it, yeah, yeah, we only get one shot. And I even think about, as a lot of people really have, is there's going to be critics along the way, no matter what, no matter you look at celebrities for whatever reasons or artists, and
Yeah.
no matter how popular, how much money, or however we want to look at things that they have, there's still going to be people that just that they're not interested and they just don't care for a person or for things that they've done or that they're a part of. And I think that's important also, that having dreams and kind of day to day knowing that there's going to be people that are going to be on board with what we're doing, and then there's going to be some detractors, and I think that's just a hard mental task to go through, to not beat ourselves up with oh, you got whatever, some negative feedback, or the analytics
Mhm.
aren't showing for a period of time,
Right,
and
right.
you start questioning.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a kind of a thick skin and not take things personally, and just know that it's like the books, they're not for everybody, but they are for some, and we want to connect with the ones that it's a good fit for. And so yeah, writers get a lot of rejections, especially if you send out those things trying to get publishers and stuff. You got even like actors when they apply for a movie, and they get rejected. I didn't get the role. So yeah, you got to have a little bit of a thick skin and just stay eagle eye focused on fulfilling your calling, being true to who you are, and partnering with a Godhead.
And so on the flip side, so when you do get positive feedback, how's that, from an emotional standpoint, how does that make you feel? And is that part of the fuel that keeps you going?
It's great to get feedback. It really is. Like my audiobook, I've just only had it out about a week, and I do voices and accents for each character. So I'm waiting to see if everybody says, "You sound like a crazy person," or so depending on my feedback, that's how I'll do the rest of the books. Am I just going to read them monotone and then they went up to them, or am I going to use the accents? And so yeah, I like the feedback, good or bad, because it helps me understand what people see and how they react to it, in especially in the demographic graphics that I want to reach. I like to hear feedback from them. Is this relatable? Was it too churchy, and different things. So yeah, feedback is good, but also, I can't get a big head and get, okay, I've arrived, I'm somebody now. So,
Mhm.
plus, like with marketing, I have a coach, and he'll say, okay, we need to change such and such. And I always know, now I can't get too attached because I got to be light on my feet. I've got to make adjustments and be flexible, to make the changes that necessary to make the product very quality. So there's a lot that can affect your ego, your emotions, your sense of well-being. But there's an expression: if you don't quit, you win. And be
Mhm.
that bulldog that's pulling on that rope. I have that analogy.
Mhm.
God's got that rope, and that's your calling, your purpose, and you're the bulldog, and you grab it hold. You're having fun. You're growling. You're doing the thing, but God lifts you off the ground with the rope. Your promises. Uh, you're holding on to him, you're looking at God, but everything, you're losing your footing. That's part of trusting God. Don't let go of that rope, even when things get crazy. Keep your focus on your purpose, and write it out, and you'll be so glad you did. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can be stubborn, but it's a good thing.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah,
And you've talked about this on both of our episodes, different people, groups, individuals that you bounce ideas off each other. Uh, can you talk about the importance of that for you and for somebody who may may shy away from those opportunities and just be like, it's what I say
yeah.
is the highway every single time.
Yeah, yeah, it's almost like having your own little think tank, where you can people you can trust, that you value, what they say. Or if you make your own little think tank, like I do, having a party with kids who've all read the book, a little homeschooler group, and it was so valuable to me, and it was great to hear that they liked it. It's okay, maybe I've got something that's really a value here. And so yeah, if it's one thing God told me beginning is that my calling, my mystery is a tapestry of many colors. So the more people involved, the more color in my tapestry. And like if you buy an Oriental rug, the more colors in it, the more expensive it is. And
Yeah.
so that's my mindset. Okay, I need to connect with people, and the right people, and that will add color and get this thing done. So yeah, don't be a loner on this thing. And get help. Find someone to mentor you. It's hard for me. I can find I need a Christian Walt Disney person,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
to mentor me and help me. Because I had to figure it out. I had to figure out how to get in the Library of Congress. I had to figure out how to get my books and create space on Amazon. I figured out how to do my audiobook, get it approved, that the sound quality was there.
Yeah.
trial and error. But if I had some mentors, man, that would have been so much easier. So at this point in my life, if someone wants help, I say, okay, I'm helping you because I sure wish I had it. So yeah, find a mentor, find people that are doing the same thing, join a writers group if you're a writer, and don't be a lone wolf for sure.
Yeah, it's one of my downfalls that I many times do try to go at it myself and get limited feedback and take that. And it's it's something that I'm learning from our guests like yourself of that importance of talking to people, getting feedback, and kind of along those same lines. There's going to be there's going to be groups that are healthy and good, and then there's going to be groups that might not be, where on the outside everything looks great, but then once you get in and you start seeing some posts, and it's like, wait a minute, like I thought we were going in this direction, and now it's here's like the bait and switch, like, hey, come join us. Then when you join, it's things turn dark, and it's not healthy for anybody. So I think I kind of relate this for me to a therapist,
Oh
and
yeah,
so I've had several therapists, and not everyone, not every therapist, not the first one that you talk to, that you meet with,
yeah,
is going to be the right fit. And
yeah,
I think it's the same thing with working through that process with whether it's Facebook groups or other individuals or mentors, that you have to find what works and what is healthy for you, because you don't want to come out of a situation or a conversation and be like, wow, like I had this, these questions and I didn't get them answered. And it, I heard the answers to other people's questions and didn't sound like they were helping them. And so I think letting people know that it's not a bad thing to, that trial and error of, let me try this. This might work. This might not. And kind of to your point earlier about being flexible and being able to pivot when you get feedback and you're like, oh wow, like, this I wouldn't have thought about that, because like I am, you get kind of zoned in,
hmm,
and then when somebody says something, we're like, wait a minute, we can't change that because this is exactly how I want to do it. And to get that feedback helps open up those additional demographics, which is ultimately one of the big things that you're aiming for.
right. Yeah, and just having a soundboard, even your best friend or whatever. It's funny when you process something out loud, it's like, oh, compared to internal thought, and
Yeah,
so yeah, find somebody that you can bounce ideas off of and process. Okay, I'm really having trouble with this, and blah blah blah, and it's a release. And therapists, I wish everybody could have a therapist, really. I mean,
me too.
everybody should have someone to help them to deal with things and find healthy ways to deal with things. Everybody at some point in their life, if especially if you don't have a lot of people you can call that are not good listeners,
Hmm.
there should not be a stigma on having a therapist. It should be, yeah, that's a normal, healthy thing to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I equate it to is you're able to share what's going on in your life, and to your point, like a sounding board,
Right. Yeah.
uh that sharing and talking about experiences and different events and things that have occurred, it's very similar uh, to writing or other forms of expression, or what we call like voices, so that they can speak, they're able to speak, or and that's their voice, or if they play music, that could be their voice. If they play
Right. Yeah.
sport, that could
Their outlet.
that could
Yeah.
yeah. And just having that
Yeah.
is huge, I think.
Yeah. That's modeled in the book with the main character, Jesse.
Hmm.
He's assigned to a group, a team, and two girls. And he said, "Oh man, why? I stick with two girls, age 15." But he would pull back and not talk and be quiet because of his trauma. And they would always say, Jesse, talk to us, tell us what's going on, and be transparent, and he said, I'm not ready to talk about it yet. And so that's modeled to show people, don't be a lone wolf, and verbalize things, be transparent, and don't say, yeah, I'm fine, everything's fine. Find someone who's a good listener.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's. I mean, they're athletes, and I know they have sports psychologists, and they have
Yeah.
people that they talk to, and that's it, on one end of the spectrum. But just as us, kind of like regular people, we still have things that can bother us. It, just even talking about it's like wow, like I if I wouldn't have been able to share this, then now whether you get all the answers, and I mean that's another question, that's another side of
Yeah.
things, but just the actual sharing and kind of having somebody as a sounding board, or just
Yeah. Yeah.
just listening and uh, being supportive, and then moving you away from some ideas if they're unhealthy. And
Yeah.
it's something I learned to 37 years. I'm 43 now, so I'm kind of working on kind of taking myself from one version of myself into this version with voice for
Right.
voices, and
Yeah.
that, and I feel more uh I, I would say emotionally tied to what we're doing, because we're human beings, and we all have feelings whether we want to talk about them or not,
Right.
and we all kind of have those things that we excel at. And with you being uh not just an author but a creator, uh can you share, if somebody is a writer, they don't know how to get started, that they might just have a notebook and they don't
Right.
know if it's a book or a short story, or
Yeah.
uh, are there any steps
For
that
sure.
you could share with them?
Yeah, I would recommend set like 5 days a week at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm sitting down. That no, don't mess with that space. That's my time. Whether you know anything to write down or not, you have a set time that you're going to sit down and be consistent and sit there. Okay, I got my stuff on there, and just spill out whatever you got. Put it on paper. You can change it later. And like I said before, if you hear something, write it down. Say it on your phone, 3 in the AM. Uh, and then go with it. Even if it's a one sentence, even if it's a general gist of something, sit down and start fleshing it out. Show up, show up consistently, and something will develop. If you sit there for about a minute and a half and say, I got nothing, get up, you know, nope, sit there a little bit longer and be able to get your mind on the storyline, not on what you're going to have for supper, and stuff.
Hmm.
It's a discipline. You have to be intentional, but stuff will happen and it'll start to flow. I've never had writer's block. Have had a Holy Spirit block where I just,
Hmm.
haven't heard, but I learned, you can't just have that. Things are going to happen the same way every time. God mixes things up, and so you got to be flexible. But yeah, you got to go for it. Be consistent and have that time.
Yeah, all the all the shots you don't take, you're gonna miss some,
Yeah.
and not every time a person sits down are they gonna have that exact creative juices flowing. And even like an artist writing a song,
Right.
that sometimes the thoughts and the topics come at different times, and as you mentioned,
Right.
3
3 in the
a.m. or
morning. Yeah.
yeah, and you're like wow, like why didn't that come to me when I was sitting down
Yeah. Yeah.
earlier today?
Yeah.
And so just, and I think that kind of goes to your point of just being flexible of, okay, if there is a moment and there is content, just write it down. Now whether that turns into something or not, that's that's kind of to be determined, but just write it down. do a voice note in the phone, uh, just because we never know what's going to turn out to be a hit or
I meet so many
wow.
people that say, "Oh, I have a book in me," but they're not saying, "I'm sitting down and writing the book that's in me." And so, yeah, all you people that you're carrying that seed in you, put it in the ground, let it bloom, develop it, go with it. Yeah.
Now, is that hard to do? So I found it's not hard for me to plant the seed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard for me to take a step back and let the process of watering and the sun and all
Hmm.
those things that I'm
Yeah.
like, I just did this. So I I want that tree to grow like right now. And being yeah, being I guess how do you stay uh
Being intentional and
patient,
consistent.
intention and patient? Yeah.
And page, yeah, it's like if I don't have any storyline, I'll go back and I'll read the chapter beforehand, um, look
Mhm.
through stuff, and that seems to help. And then by the time you're through reading that chapter and you read the pages or paragraphs or sentences that you did write, okay, I know where to go. It's getting in there and settling in. You're in your mode and look things over and consistently, set time every 5 days a week or whatever, that's what you're going to do. And it will develop, things will go, you get inspired by something, make a note. Yep.
Yeah. So talking about a theme park, what would be some of the things that would be in the theme park that you're envisioning?
The general gist is that it would kind of be like Universal Studios and the Harry Potter Wizarding World, only it would be Kingdom of God world.
Hmm.
So different uh, events would be you go in and see worship in the style of Chinese, and here's a culture worship of another country, and all the stuff about the books and does that make it a general gist? There's
Hmm.
going to be rides and that match the book storyline and maybe castle structures because the books there's a lot of gothic uh, structures on the Spirit Wings Academy uh, and stuff. So yeah, a fun place, very clean, cultured, moral, uh, and it doesn't glorify wizards and dark things. And yeah, I don't want to give the name away because
Oh
something
no,
might
no,
lose it.
yeah, yeah,
But
I don't want to
yeah,
take any
but
secret
something
confidential.
like that, and I want it to be high quality.
Mhm.
Is it like going to Disney World on that level? Would that spend that much money, that much creativity? And I'm always asking God, where's a good venue? What should we put this thing? And who's got the structures and the roads and the hotels and stuff that support that kind of thing. So it'll be really fun to see how that develops.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I mean, you're just talking about the area and the hotels and uh, that kind of reminds me as you're talking about editing, like that's not the fun part of like the fun part is designing the rides and the worlds
Right.
or but as far as where it's going to be and the roads and the structures and hotels where people can get from the hotel to the theme park,
Yeah.
it is not the fun part, but it is very important
Yeah.
to get people to that. Wow.
I'll
Yeah.
definitely need to be connecting with some people. That will need
Yeah.
engineers, producers and all sorts of stuff. So it'll really be fun. And that's most of the, like when people make movies, they seem like everything became family.
Mm.
Lord of the Rings, they all got matching tattoos, they got close, they connected. And God likes things on a heart to heart level and those relationships and being a part of a family, even if it's a movie family, is a beautiful thing. And so I got to enjoy that process and connect with the ones that have the same heart and the same vision to help me get all this stuff accomplished. So I'm looking forward to it.
And then probably the same thought process around video games of
Mm.
having as far as the themes, whether there's multiple video games based one on each uh book in the series, or however that flows. Is
Right.
that
Yeah.
that thought process like similar in the theme
Yeah. Yeah.
park?
And you got to figure out, is it a free campus university? You can roam around freely, or you have to stay within the storyline. I forgot all those terms. I have lists of them,
No, I
of
believe you.
video games. But yeah, see, like I even got, merchandise.
Oh, I
So
love
yeah,
it.
I got stuff going on, t-shirts, so, I
Good.
want it to be fun for people, and especially for the teens, the young adults, have something for their identity, something to collect that's not, ooh, the alien with the teeth hanging down t-shirt, we want
Yeah.
options, give them options.
And something uh that could be easy or a little harder to talk about is, age, where people can look at an individual and say, oh, well, or look at themselves and say, oh, I'm this age, so my creative time's up. And I like to look at, uh not that I'm endorsing the Kentucky Fried Chicken, but Colonel Sanders, I believe he's in his 70s or late 60s when
Yeah.
kind of the idea came. And I think
Uh-huh.
that should be a healthy reminder to people that it doesn't matter the age that an
Right.
individual is, whether they're going to be able to have, a global impact, or and do some of the things and helping as many people as possible.
Yeah, I think it elongates your life when you're in your golden years. If you got purpose, you got a reason to get up in the morning, especially men, when they retire from their money-making job,
Hmm.
where's their identity? Who am I? I'm worthless. You hear some people that are
Hmm.
retired feel so, yeah, when you have that purpose, that identity, you have that calling, why I was born, uh, it'll get you up in the morning and make you take care of yourself, because you got to be able to live long enough to get everything done. So
Hmm.
it's good, it's healthy, and it's necessary. Otherwise, you're just bouncing aimlessly through life. Ugh. So yeah, everybody needs to find a place.
And I think that's probably where a lot of your energy comes from too, is because
Right.
your mind's constantly in motion, and you constantly have ideas, and you're not just having the ideas, but you're following through on them too. So you're able to say, okay, here are the things I've done, which sometimes can be hard to be like, oh, well, no, I'm worthless and I haven't done anything. But then you take a step back and go, wow, well, here are the books I've written, and here's the feedback. And uh, I think a big thing is, not to beat ourselves up. I mean, easy to say, hard to do.
Yeah. It's very cool to know that you're leaving a legacy. And especially
Mhm.
like the books that are timeless, that maybe 10, 20 years, other generations can relate to it. And it still has value. It's still, a legit thing. So yeah, it's cool to have that. And a legacy is a big thing. And everyone needs some sort of a legacy, whether it's just they raise their children and their children are strong, productive, healthy people. That's a legacy. So it's very satisfying when you see a legacy that's developing in your own life.
Great. Well, we're coming to the end of our second part. Is there anything we missed that you want to add? And then obviously put your plugs in.
We covered it well. Yeah, go to the website if you're a parent, and if you're a homeschooler, see what the resources are there that you might want to use, and find out if the books fit for your kids. I do recommend 13 and up. A mature 13 is a young adult fantasy
Okay.
book series, but parents would know. And for those older kids, college kids, or whatever, check it out. See if it's something that fits you. And you can even join a community for like $8 a month and get exclusive content.
Mm,
And so that's all fun stuff. And they can even put things into like they're always on a play. They can put just a little shot of the play in there and stuff. So it's a community. It's a family. The Spirit Wings Army is called. So you'll
oh,
find that in the link. There's where it says
the link tree.
join the community. Come and join it. And the color books. It's
Mm.
fun stuff. So.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, big color books. So, but for young adults, teens and stuff. And if you're a game writer or something that I've mentioned, contact
Hmm.
me through the websites and see
Yeah.
if God calls us to work together. I need translators. I need to reach Korea and China. God gripped my heart for them. I'm learning both languages. I'm going to those countries myself. So I need translators for those books. And so like
Hmm.
a single egg just doubled into two, the English speaking and then the Asian. So I got a lot going on. If there's something that you have that can contribute to my vision, feel free to contact me and let's talk. And Justin, it's been a joy and a pleasure to be on your
No.
show. And I'm just grateful for it. And I just bless you and your
Oh.
listeners. And may this be the best year that all of us has ever had.
Yeah, you got it. You're welcome. And uh the door is always open in the future to we can link up again and
Yeah, when I
share.
get my movie contract, hey, Justin, you want to talk?
Hmm.
It'll be a
Absolutely.
blast. Yeah, it'll be a blast.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sandy, for joining us for 2 episodes. I know you're busy, got a lot going on, so to take that time out, we really appreciate it. And our
Pleasure.
viewers, our listeners, thank you for sticking with us. And if you're a new listener, viewer, go back and subscribe and give us a thumbs up and like our TV show and podcast. And we are just grateful to have been able to spend this time with Sandy. It is so invigorating, so inspiring, and we know that's going to inspire at least one person. Well, we know more than at least one person. It's going to be more than that,
One at a
and
time, baby.
that's right, one at a time, and we'll move forward like that. So until next time, thank you for joining us, and please be a voice or for you or somebody in need. Take care.